Like 6'5", they were clearing. It doesn't make that's not hot girl privilege.
Well, I mean, you get the best training, you get the best advice, you get the best help when you have hot girl privilege. All the best coaches like, I want to work with that hot chick right there.
No,
that's how the world works. Yeah, it's how the world works.
One was an NFL kid. I forget Randall. I forget. But anyway, he was an NFL player that we all know, and I forgot his name just as I brought that up. So, but she was in the high jump. Rob would have been a fan. Big, this is kind of like cool little puffy afro thing happening, and just getting that over the bar is enough.
True that.
But apparently, if you're a pole vaulter, you got to watch your stuff.
You got to take in mind your other pole.
Yeah, right. That guy lost. That guy basically lost the competition, but he was the winner. Actually, he won. That's better than winning gold. What happened to that guy? Period.
The most famous pole vaulter in history. Nobody knows his name, but we know what you did. You know why you didn't clear your height. Boink. Yeah.
Even my girlfriend was like, "How old is he?" I was like, "Okay, all right, yeah, I ain't mad at the question." But that's it's what's happening, Greg? How you doing, buddy? A lot going on. That guy right there is Rob Hunter. I'm Mike Russell. This is Russell and Hunter. Thanks for hanging out. New pole vaulting, bro. It is. This week's FAFO Friday is going to be all Olympic fails, just because it's nothing to do with outdoors, but we're just going to do Olympic fails because they're fantastic. And then, did you see the Chinese synchronized diving team? What kind of voodoo was this? There was something going on that's there's some paranormal stuff happening there because they melded into one person, and then there was zero splash. So I don't understand what was happening with that. That had to have been CGI.
Well, I said China probably making those people work on that for 4 years in a row, every single day, 7 days a week until they got it perfect. And then there's okay, now you can go to the Olympics. And if you fail, you'll be with the Uyghurs, wherever the Uyghurs are.
And I was telling the kids that I was like, okay, the guy, the Swedish guy over here on ping pong, this guy is just playing for the Wheaties box in Switzerland. The other guy from China is playing for his life. So he's probably going to win. There's a whole different motivation when you're in the Olympics and you're playing for your life instead of I just need a Nike endorsement, right?
Yeah, right.
A whole different world. Yeah, whole different world. So let's get to this. I want to start with Joe Rogan if I can. Can I start with Joe Rogan? Because obviously, guys, the world's melting. I understand about the stock market. I looked at my portfolio and the little tier went, but we come on. We're over 30,000. We're over 30,000. It's been going up and up and up and up and up and up. You have to understand there has to be a correction at some point, and so don't panic yet, because Kramer told us not to. Yeah, Jim Cramer said, "Oh, don't run, don't head for the hills yet." That makes me want to head for the hills. But let's talk about this. Joe Rogan is being sued by MSNBC. Joe Rogan is suing NBC. I apologize. Suing NBC for $30 million. I can't even say million in Spanish, but I know 30 would there. I tried to do that in Spanish. $30 million because they edited a bunch of Joe Rogan's clips to make it look like he was supporting Kamala Harris, the #1 podcaster in the galaxy. The left media said, we are going to splice something together. Tulsi Gabbard exposed.
You guys caught this, but MSNBC was exposed today for yet another set of lies. They deceptively edited together this video of different Joe Rogan comments to make it appear that he was singing the praises of Kamala Harris.
She's going to win. No, she's not. She can win. She is a strong woman. She is a person who served overseas twice.
Okay, so look at this. Obviously, he's not who he's talking about. People look. It says this is MSNBC. You can see it right there. That's MSNBC's TikTok account or their Instagram account, and it says Joe Rogan predicts Harris will win the presidency.
She can win. She is a strong woman. She is a person who served overseas twice. She in a medical unit. She was a congresswoman for 8 years.
Yeah,
no, she is a person of color. She's everything you want.
Website.
She's going to win. No, she's not. She can win. They just want no Trump, no matter what.
This is not reflective at all of the truth of what Joe Rogan said. And I think MSNBC has since taken this post down. But what's really serious here is that not only does Joe Rogan deserve an apology, there's actually something far bigger at stake here.
Far bigger.
This is yet another example of how MSNBC is working hand in glove with the Democrat elite and the.
Okay, we know that. We know MSNBC is doing what MSNBC does, but that's egregious in the whole, Joy Reid and Rachel Maddow and stuff like that. That's your thing. That's your bag, is to bash on anything conservative. But to take these clips and piece them together as if there's support for Kamala Harris from the #1 podcaster in the galaxy, there's a case there.
This is also the case for believing nothing. It's becoming harder and harder to determine what actually is true and who said what, because it is so easy to manipulate videos. It's so easy to take a clip, put another clip right next to it, put another clip right next to it, and put that out there. Now, as far as the lawsuit goes, I'm real curious, because it does tie those things together, in that if you're saying something that is untrue or making it appear that someone said something that isn't true, you should be responsible for that. And the only way to set back that is to win this lawsuit or to settle it, or whatever the case may be. Because you got to remember, Fox paid Dominion almost $1 billion because all their hosts were defaming the company that makes election equipment around election after the 2022.
But then new evidence comes later in the game, and you're like, oh, well, crap. Maybe they shouldn't have done that. They just did that to just move on with life. They might have even known they were correct in it. But when it comes to this kind of stuff, it's that stick and move mentality. The stick and move stuff, like you would say, I put anything in there. You put abortion, COVID, vaccines, anything. It's boom. This person said this, which is a complete lie. This person did that. And then you move on to it. You don't talk about it anymore because you know you're wrong. You don't retract it. You don't apologize for it. You just say this happened. But this is actually piecing together. He said she served 2 tours on their post. We know Kamala wasn't even in the damn military. Kamala wasn't in Congress. She was please. This was absolute. This actually deserves a fantastic payout. But going back to the Dominion thing and this, every shenanigan polling that the 5 swing states did in the last presidential election, and they were shady, were deemed unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. Even their state Supreme Court said, what the hell were you doing? But you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. So do we care? So MSNBC is going to settle here, give Joe a couple million and just call it good and just do that. And even if it goes to the Supreme Court and it's a big Supreme Court case, is anyone going to care? We literally saw Pennsylvania, Michigan Wisconsin change their entire electoral process because of COVID, and all of it was deemed unconstitutional. We didn't care. After it was deemed unconstitutional, like, whatever. Is anyone going to care when this comes out?
No, I don't care right now, because I accept that this is the way that the world is. And let's extend this further, because this is one of the fundamental questions we have as we move forward as humans, as Americans, whatever we want to call it, is how do you get people smart enough to understand what they're looking at is scams? Yeah. That most of what we see is some sort of half-truth, mistruth, bent truth, some little sliver of reality that you're supposed to believe is happening everywhere and everywhere. Like today, if you woke up and just looked at the headlines, you did like Mike, you checked your portfolio, you see what's going on in Israel and Iran, and is Iran going to attack Israel after Israel basically just wiped off half of Hamas's leadership off the map? What's going to happen? You know what's going to happen in my house in Phoenix? None of that. Yeah, okay, it sucks that my stock portfolio is down, but I still own the same amount of stocks that I did prior to this morning. So if I see the drop and I'm like, oh my God, I got to get out, all I'm doing is giving into that panic, right? And so again, I have this reared existential crisis, Mike, about what reality is and what it isn't, because what reality seems to be to me, pretty safe, pretty relative. The outside, the money, the turbulence, the election. I'm still going to live in my little house. I got to go out and pay whatever the prices are. And I have to figure out how to live in this world, because I single-handedly cannot change the stock market, cannot change what MSNBC does. I cannot change the outcome of this lawsuit.
Yeah, we can actually back it though. We can actually, especially those of us with microphones, can back it and say this needs to get to the Supremes. This is bad. We need to set a precedent here.
That's not going to move it to the Supremes. The legal process will. So my point in commenting all of this is, where do we all fit in the world? Because the only way it's going to change is if we link together and force it to change. Because part of the problem is, Mike, there's new things to care about every 5 minutes. There's new problems in the world that make you think the world's going to hell in a handbasket. But is it really? Is your neighborhood going to hell in a handbasket? Because that's where it starts for you.
Teacher told us, don't believe anything you hear and only half of what you see. Remember, there are magicians out there. And that's absolutely fantastic. Jim, this is a great point. Robbie, help me out with this, buddy. The black comedian who's making a bunch of waves, everybody gets their package, all this stuff. What's the guy's name? It's Cat
Williams.
I saw a video today of him breaking down the Kamala Harris commercial, like, I'm out in those streets, girl. Like, and I didn't pull it because it was just N-word this, N-word that, F this, F that. I'm like, okay, well, maybe we'll talk about that before we air it. But I'm sitting there thinking to myself, is this real? I don't know if this is real or not. Like, I'm watching a video. It's kind of like, it's not exactly in 4K. I'm like, is this altered? Is this phony? But it's something that Rob and I talked about a hot minute ago on Russell and Hunter it's almost impossible to know what to believe these days. And especially with AI in this, I actually downloaded an app last week, parrot.com or whatever. I can make Rob say anything I want Rob to say. So am I throwing this video out and it gets really grainy, but it's Rob's voice and he's saying this stuff about, he hates women and he does this and, whatever it is, he doesn't hate women. So, but I can do that. So I'm thinking to myself, is this today, Rob? I'm watching Cat Williams. I'm watching this thing and I'm thinking, I don't know if this is real or not. I'm not going to bring it to the show. Isn't that weird? Because normally we'd just be like, oh my God, did you see what he said? This is crazy. At the same time, like, that's kind of too crazy. Probably not real. That has to be part of the big master plan of seeding doubt into everybody. No, Kamala never said that she was Indian American. She always said she was black. We have video of it. I don't trust that either.
And this is the weird part where, I just saw something that by next year, they expect that almost all content of the internet will be AI driven. Almost all content.
Wouldn't doubt that.
But AI is not right? It's only as good as what it's taught, what it's fed. So this is the craziest part about what we believe and what we vote for and who we vote for is really all in the balance, because there's too much information. There's too many things to react to that get your emotions riled up, that you almost forget about the world that you actually live in, because you think, like, for example, what's going on in England. I don't know if anybody's seen any videos out of England. There seems to be a lot of Muslim, white strife, but I don't know how widespread it is because I only get to see certain videos. So I don't know if this is massively happening in every place. Because I'll use the other example that I used before. When I went to Trump's inauguration in 2016, I covered a riot. And it was billed as this big, huge riot. And there was a limousine that lit on fire. It was like 15 people. It was not as big of an event as the media made it out to be. Yes, there was also some windows being smashed, but that's easy. These little Antifa kids walk around. They have one of those collapsible things. They walk by a window, they smash it. It didn't mean it happened throughout all of DC. It was in one tiny little section. But if you watch the news of it, you don't have any context. Right. So the same thing in England. Is it worrisome? Not really, because I'm not in England. But how widespread is it? I can't tell, because my perception is only as good as to the 3 or 4 videos that I see.
And then the seed of doubt is planted in cheap fakes. That's just a cheap fake. It's not real. He didn't say that. Joe Biden didn't walk onto a plane that wasn't his. Don't worry about it. And by the way, I saw a headline that said Joe Biden heads to the Situation Room. I'm like, for what? Literally for what? Why is he there? It doesn't even make any sense. Let the wacko Joint Chiefs do their thing and, whatever, concentrate on DEI instead of, protecting our nation. But why is Joe Biden there? What literally can Joe Biden bring to the table if Iran is going to go to war with Israel? Mm-hmm. Speaking of these are the real things. And this is Trump's opportunity, the Trump campaign's opportunity to really highlight things that are not cheap fakes. But they can be called cheap fakes. But this is as real as real gets. Kamala Harris, who's running for president, she's running for the most powerful position on the planet, tried to explain what a cloud is, what a cloud server is. I want you to see this. This might be the dumbest thing I've heard in a hot minute. Listen to this.
You're now no longer are you necessarily keeping those private files in some file cabinet that's locked in the basement of the house.
Because we all have file cabinets that are locked in the basement of the house. That's how we store our files. Are you bleeping kidding me?
That's where you keep your classified documents. If you're someone,
that's right, in the garage with the Corvette. Yeah.
Well, that's why Trump got caught, because he didn't put them in the locked filing cabinet.
See, it would have been in the basement. It would have been a lot better.
Kamala puts her classified documents in the lock and key.
Yeah, this is. Oh, what happened there? What happened? I hit the wrong button. There we go. It's okay, but I hit wrong buttons all the time. It's all good. Hang tight. Here we go. All right, so here's Kamala back here.
It's on your laptop, and it's therefore,
swear to God, she said this.
Here in this cloud that exists above us.
Cloud.
Right?
Right.
It's no longer.
She asked the dude, whoever's interviewing, right? Is that right? Yeah. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. In a physical place.
It's not in a physical place. It's not in a physical place. She thinks that a cloud is not a physical place. Everyone, please understand, a cloud is just someone else's computer. It's a storage system. That's Kamala Harris, like she said, the NCAA tournament. There's never been a women's NCAA tournament before now. It's historic. You didn't know she said, I'm going to give you a little history lesson, is what she said. Yeah.
And you would think that this election would be easy, but that's not what America is. And that's not where America's at, because part of this all comes together for me, Mike, this misinformation, this changing of information and how we get it, what we believe and what we don't. As in, we just at this point are in our base instincts of survival. So if you think that Trump's the guy to make the decisions for the country, you're already there. You're like, I'm already there. If you think Kamala is it because you don't like Trump, you don't care that she doesn't understand what cloud computing is or where you store things in the ether. It's not the ether. Like Mike said, it's a server with a bunch of computers.
Someone else's computer.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah.
So the case to be made is pretty simple. Kamala is going to have to make some very important decisions as president of the United States. It's hard to make those decisions when you can't understand something as basic as cloud computing. And I get it. She's 60 years old or 59 or whatever she is. Sometimes, because I'm at the point now where I'm like, I don't care about technology. I don't like it. It's starting to move past me, like the whole CrowdStrike thing. I'm like, I don't know what that is.
Right.
That can happen to my computer. I'd have no idea what to do.
My first question was, didn't they have a Super Bowl commercial? I think they had CrowdStrike. I think they had a Super Bowl commercial. That's all I knew about CrowdStrike, not that they hold all the tech in the world, for the love of God. Mm-hmm. Okay, I understand this. Rob says she might be, 59 years old. She might be escaping a little bit of the tech and not understanding, and I got it. And by the way, I was at Best Buy last week, and I did look at flip phones. It just makes more sense. Anyway, here's Kamala saying how she's going to reduce inflation.
What else are you going to do to fix this problem with inflation?
All right, thank you. Well, let's start with this.
Yeah, let's start.
Prices have gone up, and families and individuals are dealing with the realities of that bread costs more, that gas costs more. And we have to understand what that means. That's about the cost of living going up. That's about having to stress and stretch limited resources. That's about a source of stress for families that is not only economic, but is on a daily level, something that is a heavy weight to carry. So it is something that we take very seriously.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Very seriously.
Yeah, what are you going to do, sweetie?
And we know from the history of this issue in the United States that when you see these prices go up, it has a direct impact on the quality of life for all people in our country. So it's a big issue, and we take it seriously.
Okay.
And it is a priority, therefore.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Amen, brother.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
That's true. Yes, exactly. Kamala Harris did not say, this is what I'm going to do. Therefore, we have, please, that's fantastic and wonderful. If Trump is not playing that on a loop, I have no idea what the hell's going on in life.
That's to me the case is, look, I'm not perfect. I'm Donald Trump. I come with baggage. However, at least I understand the issues. Kamala doesn't even understand inflation, what it is, let alone what to do about it. Kamala doesn't understand what cloud computing is, let alone having to sign legislation at probably somewhere in the next 4 years that deals with technology, because technology is outpacing the law and the law doesn't know what to do with technology. That's a president's job, to sign meaningful, smart legislation. But if you're signing things you don't understand, you're being ineffective in your job.
Speaking of ineffective in their job, she has a job now to convince the world that she is always identified as black. And this is now even Charlemagne the God. Charlemagne the God said, oh, let's just forget about that now. Don't even worry about that now. Although you on your show were talking about her being Indian American, but it's fine. How about this? This proves it. Rob, I actually have definitive proof right now that Kamala Harris is in fact African American. She is in fact black. Here you go.
So do you know music? Okay, so first of all, Charlie Mingus, really one of the greatest jazz performers ever.
Name a song you like.
One of my favorite albums of all time. Roy Ayers, Everybody Loves Sunshine. You know this one? So
you don't know this one,
it's
sweetie.
a classic.
No, it isn't.
And then Porgy and Bess, right? And this is a beautiful one. It's Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong. So there you go.
She's black. There we go. All right. Hey, there we go. She bought black albums. That is fantastic, by the way. And I don't know any self-respecting black family that doesn't already have those albums.
Do you have a record player, Kamala?
And can you name one song on a, without looking, name one song? Hum one of the tunes. Fraud.
Why did you get Biggie and Tupac, the 88 version?
Yeah, we're missing that one, weren't we? Were we missing that one?
Before they were out. Like, get those limited edition early cassette tapes that they were recording demos on for high school.
This cycle's equivalent to Chief Runamuck over there, Elizabeth Warren, drinking the beer while she was having. I want to have a live. I'm gonna drink a beer here because I'm one of you. I want to have this. She's not relating to anyone, and I'm telling you, that's why I get more and more confident in my bet with Rob. The black community sees this. It's like it's damn near insulting. Is what this is. This is just insulting. We've get it for the last 60 years. You have just pined to us and told us you were going to save us and you were going to pull us out of the inner cities. You were going to get us off of social services. You were going to give us jobs. Everything was going to be great. You've lied to us for 6 decades. But come on now, this is more insulting than any of the past that you have said.
Well, and this is again what's real and what's not. So what's real is if you're waiting for the government to save you, which you've been told that they're going to, you have 60 years of evidence they're not coming to save you. They're not going to improve your schools. This is, again, I'll bring up Malcolm X, who right around the time the Civil Rights Act was being signed, in the early 60s, Malcolm X, his message to the black community was be self-reliant. Forget government giving you freedom. Go take your freedom.
Right.
Go buy a gun because you can. You're an American citizen, own a Second Amendment, to partake in that. And do your thing, because that's how you become self-reliant. You go take your freedom and you don't care what the government says, because they can't arrest you for doing legal stuff. I mean, they can and they will and they have. But usually if you do legal stuff, usually you win. But see, that's the other part about this, where Kamala comes in here. And if Trump's not running ads on black radio stations across this country and on television stations black people watch that says, let's just look at the results. 60 years, signed the Civil Rights Act. And then they've always been tough on crime, including Kamala. We're tough on crime. Who are they putting in jail? You. They're not actually helping the communities they say. They're actually enforcing Fourth Amendment violations on your community by and large, way more so than white communities. I don't see cops in my neighborhood. I live in a white neighborhood. But right across the street, half a mile from my house, see cops all the time. Not a white neighborhood.
Racist.
No, I'm not racist.
I know, Rob. Robin literally is the most non-racist human being I know. But here's the reality of it, and I understand that. I understand that for the Black community, it's a certain way. For the Hispanic community, it's a certain way. For the Asian American community, it's a certain way, and for the white community, it's a certain way. But here's where it all, please listen here. This is where it's the same for all of us. There's very little in this nation that is highlighted as pure equality when we do have a lot that can be and should be highlighted as pure equality. This is the thing about the whole gay rights and LGBTQ. I was like, where I'm sorry, where did you not have every right after marriage? We got that fixed. What are we still pushing for here? Y'all have the same rights everyone else does. But here's the thing that we can all agree on. Golden Corral. You heard that right? Golden Corral, the buffet joint. I've never been there. Rob, have you been to Golden Corral?
I don't think I've been to a Golden Corral.
I've not. I want to. The commercials look fantastic. I was like, that just looks really good. Here is a Golden Corral commercial that can give us all at least a little bit of hope that we can agree on something. This is their new ad, and it is bleeping genius. Here we go.
What's crazy? This is better than cooking at home. I mean, more affordable than groceries. Of course. Groceries are expensive. Thought I was in trouble there for a sec.
Golden Corral, because groceries are expensive. God bless you. I hope you become the #1 restaurant franchise in the galaxy just for actually picking this up and saying Golden Corral because groceries are expensive. God love you. That's absurd.
Well, and this is what everyone complains about. And it doesn't matter unless you're Janet Yellen and you don't pay attention to prices and you're worth $20 million, which is most of the people that make decisions for you in your life. Yep. The rest of us are out here going, well, let's see. Am I buying this notebook or am I buying this pen? Am I buying this, bag of chicken or am I buying this bag of rice? Because I can only buy one.
Wait, can you show everybody your favorite pen, by the way? This is one of my favorite things for Rob. I love Rob. Rob is my little brother. And if I wanted to get him a Mont Blanc pen, I wanted to spend a couple $100 on a pen, he would laugh it off, and it would be the blue Bic pen that you can buy for $1.50 a pack of 15 of those damn things. Yep, that's Rob's favorite pen. I've never seen Rob write with anything other than that.
And I love it. There's no better feeling when you start to get down on the ink and you get low. You're like, ooh, I've used this pen for what it is worth. And then when you get down to here, so good.
What do you mean there's no better feeling? But you need to get out more. Champ, what do you mean? There's no better feeling than your big pen.
I'm exaggerating slightly.
I know. And do we trust the sneeze guards at buffets? Asked Brendan. Something. Of course you do. Why wouldn't
the mask of food?
It is. It's the N95 of the food industry. That's exactly what it is.
How many times have I been to a buffet in my life? Quite a few. I've never gotten sick after going to a buffet. No. So sneeze guard, regardless, people grubby hands on it. Our bodies are pretty dang resilient. We'll be okay.
Okay, I'm gonna get some personal stuff here. So I'm not gonna name the person, but I'm pretty sure you could probably figure it out. A person in my life suffered from OCD and like germ OCD, not just organization, things like that. Germ OCD. She was one of the very first to go through exposure therapy. Exposure therapy was something completely radical in the 90s. It was just unheard of. This exposure therapy, you expose yourself to something that you're afraid of. This was something that was new in it. So I was tasked with taking this person to some place where they would be completely uncomfortable when it came to germs. So I took her to a buffet. Okay. I because I am evil, because I was all in on this exposure therapy and I was all about it as we're pushing our plates through and taking things off. I said, you see this thing called a sneeze guard. And I said, do you know why it's clean? Because they missed. And I thought that was one of my most genius lines ever. I thought she was going to start crying because I said, yeah, she just missed. They sneezed on your damn food. That's why the sneeze guards. Yeah, sneeze guards don't work. It's a lot like the plexiglass for COVID. Remember when like Troy Aikman and Joe Buck had to have plexiglass between them on NFL Sunday? Because that worked.
But that's it. It goes to this whole point. The things that we will believe are just obnoxious because we seek safety. We want some magic bullet to tell us our money's going to be okay. We want some magic formula to tell us that it's going to be okay during COVID. And as long as you have this plexiglass, which your brain will look at and go, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen to stop a disease. It's not going to stop on that while I'm continuing to talk and breathe. But for some reason, as long as there's a thing, we're okay. Like I can breathe easy. The plexiglass is there.
They were rewarded. They were made in China. They're still made in China. That's hilarious. They were rewarded. I could see that happening for sure.
That's why living in communism, ladies and gentlemen, not awesome. Because you can't even get a damn big pen unless it's given to you by the government as a gift for some sacrifice you made.
How far are we really? I mean, we read those that were read into the record in 1963. We read the 45 tenets of communism. How far are we from communism? Is it just just our belief in this nation, belief in our founding fathers, belief in the system that we have that is blinding us to we're pretty darn, I'm not gonna say we're knee deep in it, but I mean we've got our feet wet.
Well, and it's gradual, right? Here's a perfect example. Social Security is a perfect example of a program that is basically a socialist program where you say, okay,
Ponzi scheme.
Yep, Mike, we're going to take money from you. Rob, we're going to take money from you. Rhonda, Greg, we're going to take money out of your paychecks. Although, Greg, you're Canadian, it probably works differently. I don't know. You guys are different up there. Although you're here now.
It goes straight to hockey improvements.
Yes, it does. It does.
All they do is play hockey.
That's it. Brendan will reach into your paycheck. We're going to give you Social Security. You're going to pay for the generation ahead of you, the 2 generations ahead of you. And we're out of money, and that's fine. Don't worry about it. But it's just basically an income redistribution system. It's just literally that's all it is. And that's straight up communism, straight up socialism. But see, this is the trick in how it works, because it has become necessary for many seniors, right? Because that's what you've been promised. That's what you've been told. You can't take it away. So we're all reliant on it. So we're stuck in that system. But here's the crazy part about it. Let's say that the government said, you know what? Keep your money. It's 6-point-something% that you pay, 6-point-something% your employer pays, unless you're self-employed and you have to pay both. It's a really great idea.
Yay! Own your business, they said. It'd be fun, they said.
It's a great idea. But your 6%, if you just put that in an account starting at whenever you started working, and you were made to put it in a mutual fund, it would be worth way more than it would be to you than your Social Security check. But there's a safety around it. You get a check from the government. And it's not risky because it's not tied to stocks, investments. But traditionally, if I at 16, when I first got my job, took my 401k money, I would have 30 years of it right now, chilling in a mutual fund.
Yeah.
It would be way more. All I'm going to do at most is get my money back.
Yeah.
Maybe 0.5% more than I put in. So it's not a good ROI. And it loses value because of that magic word that Kamala doesn't know anything about, inflation.
Kamala. I actually have Nooch doing that. Intern Nooch. I was like, dude, you're giving me 5% of your paycheck.
Yeah,
he does not like this program.
No,
let's go into my financial guidance. Is going to be. I'm like, just trust me. When you're dad's age, you'll be just sitting pretty. You'll be just fine, my man.
Well, say you have a midlife crisis like we have. You get your 40s. You're like,
what are you talking about? Midlife crisis? I'm just tattoos and divorce and what are you talking about?
I just quit my lucrative job. No big deal. Midlife crisis is if you have money, you have some time, because the only thing you can't get back in life is time. So if you're in a nice position where you're 45, 48, 52, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to take a year off so I can find myself or whatever you want to do, you can, because you've planned ahead.
That's why I think it's backwards. I think I'm good. Let's do socialism. Let's do this big Ponzi scheme. Let's do it here in the United States. Here's the deal. You start working when you're 40 or 35. That's when you start working. You're on Social Security when you graduate high school. You're on Social Security. You can go figure yourself out. Go do a bunch of stuff. Learn a skill. Learn a trade. Find out what you want to do. And then you want to do it, then you turn 35, you're like, okay, going to work till I die, but I'm going to do what I want to do. And I did all the fun traveling. So when I was young, had the energy, I would travel the world. I went to Europe. I did all this great stuff. I did all these great hunts and all this stuff. Not a bad idea. If I ran for president, I'm telling you, it's a damn good idea.
Well, and I'm at the point now where we have to rethink all of America, because the big missing piece to me is education in schools that allows people to do that, Mike, to be free. Because, you're born into this system. It's an American system. You go to school into this system, and you're expected to follow the system. You go to high school, you get your 4-year degree, you go get your job, you retire at 65. That's the American system, where Mike might be onto something here, where no. 18, you take 2 years and you really figure it out.
Yes.
And then you decide, all right, I'm going to go do something else. Because here's another big part of it. I just was talking to Amy's, because we have to have, this is the great thing about home ownership. Not only do we need a new AC unit, we need a new water heater too. So awesome. Yeah. This is why they always do this. These plumbing companies, I always tell you, hey, why don't you come out and do that free flushing service?
Yeah, free. Oh, yeah, free. Yeah, free. Free my ass.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's at the end of its life anyway, so it is what it is, right? So you do all these things and you just deal with it, right? But if you had go back in time and you said, maybe I could have become a plumber, because plumbers are taken out of the system. So Amy's wife's cousin is a plumber in Connecticut. He said there's only 6,000 plumbers left in Connecticut, in the whole state, as opposed to, I had to look up this number. There's, what did he say? I wrote it down somewhere. There's, just compared to any other industry, there's way more plethora of anything else except plumbers. So plumbers are making killing right now. $150,000, $200,000 a year being a plumber.
My son said he wants to be an electrician. He said he wants to have his own electrical company. I was like, that's probably the smartest thing I've ever heard you say, young man.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Go into the military and do it. What? Come on, productive after 30? Come on. I think, Brendan, you can be productive after 30. I think that's when you figure it out. You know what I mean? That's when you kind of figure things out in life. You're like, okay, my brain is fully developed now. Thank God. And I really want to be a plumber. I really want to be a salesperson. I really want to be a real estate agent. I really want to be a radio show host. We advise you do not do that. But I really want to do something. And that's the way to go. And Mike Rowe, Jim said, Mike Rowe works. Mike Rowe is just the voice of, a champion of just trade schools, essentially. He actually has a scholarship program too. Mike Rowe has I think it's called Micro Works, right, Jim? It's called Micro Works as a trade school scholarship program. I love that. I remember the first time I saw that, he was highlighting some woman that's 18 years old, as a female that went to welding school. And now she's like some famous welder, like TikTok famous or something like that. But she freaking welds things. God bless you. Going like, I got my degree from Harvard, and I went to this, and now I'm looking for a job.
But see, that's the system. And that's a prided American system. Whereas if you do it right and you bust your butt in high school and you go to do sports and you do extracurricular activities, you're in the drama club and you do well in your schooling and you have a part-time job and you apply to Harvard and you get in, you're set. You get that Harvard degree and you're set. Well, that's not always true. Some people go to Harvard and hate it. Some people go to Harvard and don't do much with their lives. So we buy into this myth that that's the system. By the way, the comparison in Connecticut, 6,000 plumbers, 40,000 lawyers.
That makes sense in Connecticut.
Well, and it makes sense in a lot of ways because probably most states are like that. And you wonder why the bureaucratic state is the way it is. Too many damn lawyers. There's a lot of lawyers. Like Washington, D.C. is all lawyers. They're the ones that screw everything up, make everything bureaucratic and all these things. So you can see where and now plumbers are making lawyer money.
Yes.
Maybe more than lawyers in many cases. So it's a weird sort of thing. But it's almost redoing that structure of America into more of a freedom-based structure, but it starts with your own personal freedom to understand what you have to do to be able to be in control of your own emotions, your own thoughts, keep your thoughts in your head, Mike, when often as possible.
Yeah.
And to navigate life in your channel, regardless of what is happening in places that have nothing to do with you.
And Jay will back me up on this. I said, what's up, Jay? I saw, back me up. I think there's 36,000 real estate agents in Arizona. I think it's absurd. I'm going to go get my real estate license and I'm going to drive a Lexus like that real estate agent. I said, no, those dudes don't have any money to put in their Lexus, but to fill the damn tank with gas. But yeah, trade is one thing. Trade with okay. So let me put it this way. I do tip of the hat to the people that went through college, like Rob, studied what he was passionate about and made something about what he's passionate about and made a career of that. I do tip the hat to that because there's a drive behind that. So if you take trade school with drive, you're freaking unstoppable. In every single way, you're unstoppable. Like Intern Beans is going to school for biology. So, I mean, that takes that studying and that degree to make that thing happen. But, I mean, it's not like you can go to a trade school to be a marine biologist. You have to study the actual the course. But I do commend my son for saying, Dad, I think, maybe the Army Corps of Engineers is something for me. Maybe something like it. Dude, yeah, hell yeah. Military, let them do it. Not right now, though.
Well,
right now,
if you're in the Army Corps of Engineers, usually you're not infantry and riding tanks.
I know, but you're out there building walls and doing bunkers and all that crap. Yeah, you're doing stuff. You're getting shipped over. You ain't just gonna sit. You're chilling at home.
No. I mean, there's true.
I gotta talk to my man about that. As much as I love the military and everybody who has served, I'm like, right now for my son, who I was like down, but I'm like, well, a lot going on.
I think that's it. I've changed so much in the last couple of years, 3-4 years, and changed.
I promise he has.
Yes, I look at power differently in that it's almost, if you think about, and I love it. I love that we have a volunteer military. I do. I really do. But I don't like the idea that most of the wars that we've fought since World War II have not yielded any real good results. So if I had a kid like you do, have two, Mike, and they wanted to join the military, I would get more concerned about how powerful people will use my kid for their means and their ends and their friends' ends and defense contractors more so than anything else. So I think it is absolutely 100% legitimate for any parent to question their kid going into the military because of how the military has been used by powerful people.
I'm going to butcher this. I'm going to try my best to get it right, to really stick this landing, really nail this quote here. This was from Elon Musk. This was last week. He was talking about the absurdity of war. And he said, I'm going to try it here. We send kids overseas to kill people they don't know for older power structure that know each other, or something to that effect, like old men that know each other. Like they could work this out, but no, we're going to send kids to kill each other in the name of the people that can actually talk to each other like world leaders. Mind blowing. And of course, I butchered it. I tried to stick it, dude. I totally
we did it. Yeah, I mean, you stuck it enough. Maybe it's a 9.5 out of 10. But
come on, tell me about that. No, yeah.
We know what it is, right? And when I think, because I don't know, I think about personal freedom a lot and what that means, and the sovereignty of my own life. And I get to determine that it shouldn't be some stooge in Washington that says, no. You have to go to Syria. Why do I have to go to Syria? What does Syria have to do with anything that I'm related to or involved in? Nothing. Well, ISIS is there. Okay, cool. Got it. Do we have a mission? Yeah, we have a mission. Do we have an end date on that mission? That's different than most of the wars we've gotten involved in have just been never-ending money transfers. Now, I just saw a number. I wish I could remember the number. The amount of money we've given the Taliban in the last couple of years. The Taliban.
Mistakenly, not even we screwed up and gave them $250 million. We didn't mean to do that, but we did because they weren't vetting their grant programs or something like that. I was like, Are you bleeping kidding me? How stupid? I mean, we just did the same with Ukraine with $6 billion. Like, oh yeah, $6 billion.
Oops,
crap.
Yeah. This is the other part about the power that really, really ticks me off. How come no politician ever thanks us for giving them money to run the government? Because it's our money.
It's theirs. Because they think it's theirs.
And that's it, Mike. You're exactly right. A nice thank you card would go along. Hey, you know what? Thanks for working hard and paying your taxes so we can screw it up for you and not pay any attention to how we spend your money. Because if you look at government and you look at it at just a fundamental level, all it does is exist to spend your money. That's it. It's formed around your money. The programs are all about your money. The donors to political campaigns get contracts. We all pretend it doesn't happen, but we know it happens. And it goes back to your point, Mike. I think that is it. There's been so much crap that has happened to us as Americans that we've been paying attention to. And I'll just use my professional life. Let's go to the Bush Gore election, 2000. 9/11 happens like 9 months after that. Then it's war. It's Hurricane Katrina. It's economic recession. It's Obama. It's Tea Party. It is Obamacare, which completely was partisan and divided the government and divided America literally in half. And the Democrats didn't care about that because they thought they were going to get Hillary to win in 2016. Trump comes out. We have the Trump presidency. We have all that goes along with that. And we've got now Biden, the Afghanistan withdrawal. So in 24 years, all of this stuff has happened that has created a massive amount of apathy in this country because nothing the government does ends up working very well.
No, I was actually, did you see the former CEO of Overstock.com?
This guy is throwing some crazy allegations out there.
Don't. But I mean, does it make you okay? So to get you brought up to speed, essentially, it was the FBI came to him and said, "I need you to bribe Hillary for $18 million. She's going to win. We need a puppet in the White House. She's going to be president for 8 years, and then this is how we're going to do it." Basically, what he's saying is the whole Biden Kamala thing you're seeing is the last act in all of this. And he was like, "I literally thought I was doing a great thing because we had somebody that was on the take, so I was going to go expose her. So I went and bribed her for $18 million, and she took it."
And it was through like Uzbekistan or Azerbaijan or some weird oil country.
Then Trump came along, this anomaly, and CNN handed him the White House, and they just didn't expect that to happen. They basically threw a wrench in their system. Why is this shocking to anybody? Why did I watch that entire interview and I was like, yeah, it's apathy. It's exactly what Rob was talking about. So we was like, okay, yeah. And no, we do it. Nancy Pelosi, I don't know if you caught her on 60 Minutes. Destination television as it is. Nancy Pelosi, 60 Minutes. Nancy Pelosi had this to say about Joe Biden.
Good place to make whatever decision, top of his game. Such a consequential president of the United States, a Mount Rushmore kind of president of the United States.
A Mount Rushmore kind of president of the United States says this bag of narcotics. She literally says this is and she's doped out of her mind, but she says he's and I actually credit that there's follow up here.
United States want to know what comes next.
That he belongs up there.
She said, "Woman, please." Did you just really say, "Come on, girl, come on"? Did you just say he deserves to be on Mount Rushmore?
On Mount Rushmore, Lincoln and Joe Biden.
But you got Teddy Roosevelt up there, and he's wonderful. I don't say take him down, but you can add Biden.
Get out of here.
You can add Biden. You don't take Teddy Roosevelt. Just bears Teddy Roosevelt. Don't even put his name in your mouth, woman. Keep his name out your mouth, says Will Smith.
Wow. Mm-hmm. There's some propaganda for you.
That is okay. This is what we're doing. This is straight up propaganda. Now listen to this. I actually credit the question of what did you tell Biden? How did you threaten him to get out of the race? Listen to this tap dancing bag of narcotics. Listen to this.
Tell us what you told President Biden to persuade him to step aside.
Oh,
well, I've never shared any conversations with a president of the United States publicly. No.
Okay, she's admitting right there. Okay, yes, I do some really shady stuff but I'm going to use this as the as the guys.
It said that he's furious at you. Is he?
Well, he knows that I love him very much.
I understand that you don't want to own this.
Watch this here, guys.
But it is so well reported.
No.
Did you hear her? She just told her no. Do not do this. Watch this again. Listen. She said no.
But it is so well reported that you were the leader
I'm warning you,
of
woman.
a pressure campaign.
No, I wasn't a leader of any precious party. Well, let me
wait. What? Of a precious party? She said you led a pressure campaign. She said I was in no part of a pressure party.
Campaign.
No, I wasn't a leader of any precious party. Well, let me say things that I didn't do. I didn't call one person. I did not call one person.
Talk to him
I
in person.
could always say to him, I never called anybody. What I'm saying is I had confidence that the president would make the proper choice for our country, whatever that would be. And I said that, whatever that is, we'll go with.
Had you seen a decline in Joe Biden, and did you think he needed to step aside?
No.
Liar. You are why? Why are we even why? No. The entire world, all 8 billion of us, saw the decline in Joe Biden, and these, again, rambling, tap dancing bags of narcotics are going to tell us, nope, I didn't see a thing. Because you were drunk at the time? How did you not see that?
Because you only see what you want to see. And I think that's getting back to really the theme of what we're getting at today. If you woke up this morning and you looked at the stock market and you looked at what's happening in Israel and you're like, oh my God, the world is going to hell in a handbasket. I need to make changes and moves and I need to do all these things. Oh my God. You see what you want to see. Whereas I look out and I'm like, oh, I saw pigeons in my backyard this morning.
Oh, come on.
No, I just have
this
to walk
Mary
by.
Poppins stuff. Like, you looked at it and went, oh, crap. Everyone went, oh, crap.
I went like this. What am I going to do about this?
Okay, but everybody at least started with, even though you went to, ended with, what am I going to do about this? You started with, oh, crap.
Well,
everyone did. That's natural.
I didn't say, oh, crap. I just looked at it and went, all right, this seems like this is repeating itself again. So now what? Okay, so if I don't think about my money and I think about the people that I have manage it, that's their job to manage it. Like, that's why you pay people to do it. Because I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what stock to sell. I don't know. So much so that like E-Trade crashed this morning. Everybody trying to trade their own stocks. There was no access.
Actually, Japan shut it down. Japan shut all trading down. But it was funny because I have a scheduled meeting that was scheduled a week and a half ago with my financial planner tomorrow at 8. I'm like, well, that conversation just changed a little bit. I'm like, can we move it to today at 8? Because
exactly.
I don't know if I want to wait till tomorrow on this. But hold on a second. Wait a second. I didn't call one person. I called many. That is beautiful, Grizz, because that is such wordplay. I did not call one person because the fact is she called several, but I did not call one person. I love
and
that.
let's get back to that just for a second, because this is the reality of it. These are the people that make decisions that do have ancillary benefits for you. Because if you look at the stock market today, you understand that this has been a game we've been playing for the last 4 years. Since Biden got in office and inflation went through the roof. We've been playing this game because the whole idea of raising the interest rates was to cause a recession. Because in order to break inflation, you have to go through a recession. You have to reset things. So what they tried to do is manage it so that it got past the presidential election.
Yep.
But it looks like they're going to come in short. And again, this is where our bet that we made early, Mike, is tricky for me, because if a recession is here, it boosts Trump's chances to win. So there's outside forces of control. So this is one of those things that, especially the way Kamala explains things, that really she could shoot herself in the foot. But you look at, again, the decisions that are made behind the scenes, and what Nancy Pelosi is saying to you is, I'm not telling you a damn thing, because you're going to be kept in secret, because we're not as smart as we think we are. We're not as smart as we tell you you are. You got wind of that during the pandemic. You got wind of that during the last 2 20-year wars that we fought. Hell, the last 5 20-year wars that we fought. I don't even think the war in Korea is technically over yet. I don't think we ended that war. I think it's still open, ongoing resolution.
So helicopters in Vietnam, it's all the same.
Exactly. But think about it. Korean War, Vietnam War. I mean, they're like, all right, let's do little skirmishes like Grenada in Panama to make ourselves look tough. And then we'll do Gulf War. Gulf War, we go in, we're like, yeah, we're cool. Like, America's back. Then it's Afghanistan. Then it's Iraq. Iraq, by the way, is basically a proxy of Iran. So that all leads into how this is being destructive for Israel. So when you zoom out and you look at the decisions these so-called smart people make, the decisions are all awful for regular human beings. They're not awful for those buttheads because they're all rich and don't care. Yeah. Who they're awful for is the person that lives in Gaza whose apartment just got exploded because Hamas was hiding in there, and now they have no house. That's who gets impacted by all these things.
Let's go back to Nance, who, by the way, I would love to see Paul's stock moves over the, his futures and all his trades this morning.
He did them yesterday. Yeah.
I'm sure he's fine. I'm sure he's good. Here we go. Oh, shoot. Here we go.
My whole point was, whatever he decides, but we have to have a more aggressive campaign.
Really?
She mentioned his.
That was literally her entire thing was all I wanted, no matter what it is, we just need to be more aggressive in the campaign. She is, again, a lying, tap dancing bag of narcotics. She's done. Her time is over. She is Brett Favre of Washington, D.C. She didn't know when to let go. She didn't know when to end it, to hang it up, and she has completely destroyed her legacy as the most badass speaker we've ever had, whether you like her ideologies or not, and I know we don't. if you go by job description and what you're supposed to do as Speaker of the House, she to go. Now she's just ruining that entire legacy. Good for her.
Well, and you know, it's exposing what's real and what's not. And that's where I get back to being grounded is, all right, what can I control and what can't I? Mike and I, with you guys' help, and this is why we ask you to share this out. And we know that so many of you have, and Mike and I are both incredibly grateful for that, because the conversation that's not happening is this one. That the people that make these decisions that we elect because they tell us they have the smartest degrees and the smartest friends and the smartest advisors, and they themselves, the politicians, are so smart. But just look at those collective decisions, those big decisions that have put this country in war, that have put $2 trillion into the economy when the economy didn't need it, right when Biden and the Democrats took over in 2021. That alone at least caused 3% inflation. That bill alone, on top of all the other decisions. And some of those, quite honestly, were made by the previous administration. So we have this collective screwing you over because they are fine no matter what. The people in power, the people that work in Washington, they keep their jobs at their $170,000 a year salaries. They've got their insider trading in their stock portfolios. Yeah. They're fine.
The 170 is the pocket change. That's their walk around. That's their flash money.
That's the normal, you know, lawyer who works for the Department of Homeland Security or whatever.
Christ almighty. Yeah.
Well, and that's just it. So this is that reality is you have to take it. Going back to Malcolm X, you have to take, not in an illegal way, but you have to take your space in the world. You have to establish your own freedom and your own decisions to help yourself, because those up there, as Nancy Pelosi just proved, number one, she's not going to tell you what she said because it's awful. She's not going to tell you the truth because the truth is gross. It's disgusting. Because what they did is they threatened the 25th Amendment on Biden.
Sure did.
So you remember that there was a reporter named Seymour Hersh who broke the story of the My Lai massacre in Vietnam in the 60s. And that was when there were soldiers that went in and just killed everybody in a village, including women and children. And that actually, the guy just died the other day. The guy that was the lieutenant, I think, that did it. But he went to actually prison. He went to military prison. And they always allege, no, I was just doing my orders. So eventually his sentence got reduced. But that's that whole idea is Seymour Hersh, the guy that gave us that story, gave us the story that Obama went to Biden and said, listen, we've got 25th Amendment. We've got Kamala to approve it. Seymour Hersh does not report things for fun. He's a serious journalist. He's like 89 years old. He's the one also, Mike, that told us that the United States blew up the Russian pipeline and was, no, it's Ukraine. He's like,
my ass.
We all knew because Ukraine doesn't have that capability. Maybe they had one guy in the boat. So that's what they did.
That's the same as when we say stuff's bipartisan. Oh, there was one. Yes. Oh, there's one Republican in there. It's bipartisan. Yeah, look at that. Yeah,
exactly.
Same thing. We had a Ukrainian in the boat. That's awesome.
But you think about, right? All the Democrats, they basically gave you the playbook because they wanted the 25th Amendment on Trump. And they're like, crap, we're going to use this at some point. They used it on Biden, and Biden had to relinquish because they would have kicked him out of office. And the whole Democrats, that would have been a coup. If they kicked Biden out of office.
It was a coup. And come on.
Fine. But but think about how much more severe it gets if you remove a president.
Correct.
Because you're Obama, you're Pelosi, you're Schumer, and you're Hakeem Jeffries, and you're the power brokers, and you force the president to resign. Even though it's the right thing for the country, he should resign because he can't do the job, but that's neither here nor there.
Did you call him Turtle Mitch? Okay. I had never heard that before, and it's perfect. Oh, my God, it's poetic. Yes.
By the way, also learned today, Greg Meekin, you were born in New Hampshire. I didn't know that. I don't know if you told me that. I had forgotten that. Greg Meekin's an American and a Canadian. New Hampshire, New England guy.
Dude, anyone that talks about hockey is part Canadian. Anyone that talks about hockey has Canadian blood in them and some sort of Canadian citizenship. Hey, please. He keeps bringing hockey up. Love of grief. Okay, here's what happened. Though. We ran out of time, and tomorrow I'm going to do this. This is Trump's. It is true. Okay, I knew Rob was going to put that up. I was hoping it just scrolled past his thing first, but no, he's going to lose the bet, Greg. He's going to lose the bet, Greg. So here's the gig. I have a video of RFK Jr. talking to Roseanne. Roseanne's got a nice crib. She really does. And they're hanging out at the coffee table, having a little chat. Tomorrow we are going to play this because we're at time now. It's lengthy because I want to go through this. This is a story as if Mike Russell was born a Kennedy. If Mike Russell was born a Kennedy, you would have this identical story about a bear that was hit and killed by a car, and then a biker was framed for the murder. This was, if I was born a Kennedy, this is exactly the kind of stuff I would be doing regularly. Just saying.
All right, there's something in there.
It's going to be fun.
Seems obvious to me, which we'll talk about tomorrow.
We are going to talk. We're going to kick the entire show off tomorrow with just that. I commit that to you. The video's right here. And I'm sorry, but I mean, it's RFK Jr. It's kind of tough to listen to, especially with the acoustics of a kitchen.
Light that guy up. Come on.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. We appreciate you guys. Thank you, Grizz. We appreciate each and every one of you. We appreciate you guys hanging out, playing along. This is our show. We like to have fun with you as we roll through the show, and you guys are just part of this as we are. So Rob's got to get on his horse and get over to my house right now. So we've got some good beer in the fridge, and we're going to make this thing happen, creating new fun things for y'all. So we'll see with his big pen. For the love of God, you communist. So yeah, so there is we'll do this tomorrow at noon right here on Russell and Hunter.